this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Class is in session. Please be seated. Behaviors that get attention get repeated. Avoid the power struggle cause it will get you heated. Listen to Amanda cause she knows how to teach it. Yo, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Yeah, yeah,
Hello and welcome to the Parenting with a Punch show. I am your host, Amanda Houle. I have a lovely guest here today, Rena Weiner. She is a former, she is a patient advocacy coach, multi-book author, and a cancer patient in remission. Let's welcome Rena. How are you, Rena?
I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you. How are you today, Amanda?
I'm good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So talk to us about, you, a multi-book author, your book that just recently came out.
That is called Trust Your Doctor, but not that much. Be your own best healthcare advocate. And that is really about asking a lot of questions, speaking up, asking for a second opinion when it's necessary, but being comfortable in the presence of your healthcare professional so that you get the best care that's available to you. And that's for big problems, little problems, just to make sure you are well prepared and can get into an active discussion so you know what's going on.
Right, yeah. And I'm sure what led you to writing this book is being a cancer patient in remission, correct?
It has. In addition, it has been my professional career, which was as a pharmaceutical representative in oncology, then as the National Oncology Trainer, then as a nursing instructor, and then I became, you know, you keep going, well, that's life. You keep on keeping on. And then I became a patient, and that's been going on for quite a few years. Been a lot of clinical trials and it had a transplant, and here I am. Imagine that. So
God bless you. Yes.
I have trusted myself so that, like I said, I've advocated and felt comfortable in the presence of the healthcare professional who was going to provide care for me.
Right.
I'm all about trust, Amanda, all about trust.
Yeah. So I'm sure, being able to sort of in that experience, being able to kind of put yourself in control, I would think, and sort of just, I guess control, that's what you would say. But yeah, giving yourself, the responsibility to kind of maybe ask the right questions and, be your own advocate in your relationship with your doctor. Is that kind of like a little bit about what you talk about in the book and just...
Sure. You know that, yes, there's an element of trust that you need to have with your healthcare professional. But part of it is realizing how important the conversation is to do your research, to be prepared, not to be intimidated in their presence. And, trust is essential to healing. It truly is. And trust goes across the board, not just right now I'm talking about medicine.
Right.
To this, I talked about in my very first book called Strong from the Start, Raising Confident and Resilient Kids, and learning to trust yourself as a parent and learning to trust your kids. So, it's a trajectory. How about that?
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. And you have quite the experience, of course. So you've really been able to sort of, weave in and out, this life journey and kind of put into practice what you preach, right?
Yeah, I have. I mean, kids are all grown up, and so now there's a totally different relationship.
Of course, yeah.
But trusting them has helped them, I believe, become independent, responsible adults. And I'm sure you can talk about that.
Yes. I mean, it's definitely, as you know, being a parenting strategist and working very closely with parents and the children alike, depending, of course, what the needs are with the family, is sort of like teaching parents to be able to take a step back and like relinquish control and trusting that their children are, you know, making decisions based on like what's right for them. And then, you know, and of course that varies with age. But it's really being able to take a step back as the parent, I think, and allow the children, you know, especially in the younger years, to sort of like move through how they show up in the world. And like, as the parent, you're supposed to help them navigate and model those appropriate, sort of, you know, behaviors, you know, through communication, right? So communication is all forms, really. I mean, through visual, through verbal, nonverbal communication, and just, you know, your energy, which I think is huge. You know, children really feed off of our energy. And again, I think that really comes back to like, you know, your health, where like, and taking care of yourself, and being able to like be present, sort of like through your process in parenting. Which, because you're not just a parent, you're a person, you know, I mean, you're a wife, you're not. So I think it's just, in parenting, I think it just can get so, stressful, of course, and sort of like misconstrued, like the role, I feel, you know, and that's where I kind of see like a lot of the control.
You do have to keep yourself healthy. There's no question about that, because how can you do your best for your kids if you're not doing the best for yourself? You just really, you know, if you're really worn out, if you're really stressed out at work, whatever else is going in your life, financial problems, you know, all of that, then that does not support your, what can I say, your parenting. It doesn't support your parenting. And I know that, you know, there are some parents who have kids who have some medical needs, others who do not, and some parents who have medical needs themselves. And then, are you addressing those, or are you just so busy rushing around that you haven't taken the time? I mean, yesterday I had to pick up a prescription at the pharmacy, and you know, they staple the bag as if it's like a big secret thing, you know. But I always look to see. And a friend of mine who has 3 kids had said, when I come to pick up a prescription from the kids, I always check to see it's the right drug that was ordered. But when I go for myself, I just run right out the door. And so how can that support your health, which is necessary to supporting your kids? So I do think there's a really big tie-in, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because consciously, you're not even thinking, you're thinking about the kids. Like, you're not necessarily putting yourself first or thinking about yourself. And that's something else I see in the world of parenting, is parents being able to recognize that they really have to put themselves and their relationship first. Like, there's team A before team B. And that, I think I've seen, has been a struggle for a lot of families. It just makes me sad, because I just feel like we have so much divorce and sort of like this tug of war. And I think it just, a lot of it, I think as a society, you know, I just have to pray that we're becoming a bit more conscious and taking care of our health and taking care of ourselves, you know, so we are better able to show up as individuals, and then which transcends into your parenting and all of your relationships.
Oh, definitely. You know, I mean, if you're super stressed out, you haven't been sleeping, you're worried about this and that, you're not eating properly, you're not going to whatever exercise, either class or walking or whatever keeps your body tuned, as I think, then your ability to parent effectively, you know, and sometimes when you have to say, no, I can't let you do this and that, when there's some discipline, for lack of a really better term, involved, if you're like too tired, you're like, all right, just do it. I got to lie down on the couch. And, you know, once in a while, everybody kind of falls back into that. But
Right.
on the whole, in general, the more you are mentally and physically in good shape, the more you can then communicate to the kids. And like I said, learning to trust. I was really big on that when they were, especially when they were really little, like making choices, even like picking out little clothes that they were going to wear as soon as they could dress themselves. I didn't feel like I was in charge, and we had a morning regimen too, where they made their choices. They know I'm going to buy lunch, bring lunch. You might take a shower now, just everything, so that nothing that I felt was too much of a heavy responsibility for them, but enough of a responsibility. So my take is that really builds confidence.
I agree.
You know, sometimes your favorite shirt is in the washing machine. Oh, what am I going to do now? You know, a little.
Right. Yeah.
It's all, as you know, because this is your field and you're an expert. Little steps until, you know, something bigger comes up, and they have had, you know, a little bit of adversity, just a little. Oh, I can't wear that shirt. I got to pick something else out. And then it grows with time, so that when the issues grow, they're able to handle them. And like I said, I think it's hard not to intervene because you want to make everything good and better and easy. But, you know, life is not easy. And so how then do you give your children the tools that they need to, you know, move on? Like I said, my kids are adults. They're like all grown up and gone and doing their thing. Yeah. But I hope that over time that they have learned the lessons of resilience, because I see with them, you know, that they ain't coming home. They ain't asking for money. So they're not in jail. So a couple of things worked out pretty well.
Right.
Anyway.
So. Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I think, you know, giving children those skills from a very young age, I think really helps set them up for adulthood, because adulting is not easy. And you know, I think as you get older, you only experience more sort of, I don't want to say setbacks, but life happens. You just don't, you don't know, you know, you deal with death, you deal with sickness, you deal with, you know, loss of jobs. It's just, there's just so many things that happen throughout your lifespan, and there's no other way than to be able to be prepared for it, other than just like trying to help your children learn through resilience and taking responsibility for like their role, and teaching them how to handle conflict.
How to handle conflict when they're adults, you know, and they have a boss who's not their best friend, shall we say.
Right.
And how do I deal with that? Do I run away? Do I figure out, is there a new path that I can take that will make this? I had that with a job myself years ago. And because I had a sales job, they always used to change your territory. As soon as things are going great, okay, let's change your territory. And I had a boss who I didn't get along with that well, truthfully. Right. And then sure enough, it came around and moved to another territory. She was my boss again. So we had to figure out how to do better. Right. And that's what I think I do think, and I hear with people too about like doctors, if the patient doesn't feel like they're being heard or they don't get along, they just put the coat on, that's it, they're walking out, they're firing the doctor. My sense is, how can we then make this relationship better? How do we improve it? And I think the same thing, like I said, when you're raising kids, you know, if they're feeling resistant or angry or something. I mean, I always felt, I mean, you could talk about this because you're the expert, that a lot of times you can really talk to your children like they're human beings, you know? I mean, sometimes you have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
But seriously, have an adult conversation with your expectations, their behavior, and then hear what they have to say.
Right. No, it's true. I mean, I do a lot of sort of like team, you know, family meetings, you know, even in the younger years, and just kind of like meeting together as a team to figure out like, what those rules are, what those expectations are, and kind of, and as you get a little bit older, them being able to voice their concerns, like you said, and it's, you're meeting each other, it's a dual relationship. It's not just like the parenting the child. Like we have to take into consideration the child's feelings. If we want our children to respect us and be able to come to us when they're older, when they are having difficulty, which is inevitable, especially as they get older and they go into junior high and high school and they're navigating, friendships and boyfriend and girlfriends. And, you want your children to be able to come to you. You want them to be able to trust you and feel safe. And a lot of that starts with having those open conversations.
Having that, and you're not always going to agree. Move over a little. I can't see you. You're in the dark. Here we go. I mean, you as a parent, I mean, you can't be like buddy. There's no friends.
Right.
That's with their contemporaries. And sometimes your choices, as a parent, are not going to be exactly what they hope that you will say.
Right.
But your role as a parent is to say, this is what I think. But also, too, my take is that kids will show you, if you're watching, what they're good at, what they really don't like, or they feel like they're not that good at. And I always felt like, let me support your path. Both my kids have gone in their own directions. And I didn't say, you got to be this,
right.
this. I want you to be, but because what I want and what they want, I'm talking about career choices and so forth. As they get older, you want to play soccer, you want to play the violin. What do you want to do? I feel like giving them that responsibility, trusting that they know that, like I said, oh my gosh, like my son wanted to play the drums. Okay.
Right.
He did. And he's a professional musician, but he knew my daughter doing what she does. And so, there's a lot of parenting that you do that guides them and so forth, but also have to be taking into consideration their needs, their choices, their skills.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what do you think was, or like part of your process in just being able to like recognize that as a parent? Was it just through your own experience, or kind of just did it come natural to you? Because I know for me, it's, I think it comes natural. Like it's just, I automatically just know that that's like what kids need. But it's interesting when I hear from, those families that are automatically sort of like have that mindset, which, how they got there.
Well, it is, I just think I don't think it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so skilled. This is like amazing. I got to teach everybody. Right. I think it's watching, observing,
yeah,
listening to them, just naturally, that when it's time to get ready for the game or the whatever,
right.
They're ready, they like it, they're going, rather than and so it just becomes apparent. I mean, it was a summer program, a theater program where we lived, and my daughter just took to that, like loved it from the beginning, loved it. My son loved it later on, but it was natural. But she did a little, like I'm saying, you really just watch. You just watch and listen and try to support them. Like I said, unless they're going to be jumping off the bridge, then you might have to be. But really, they do. They show you, and it's like I said, yeah. You hope that you can round them out,
right?
So that not only playing this or doing that, but also still supporting. This is my favorite thing. This is what I want to do, and what I've found with both my kids is if you allow that, support it, and it's something reasonable. Like I said, they're not doing something super nutty, crazy.
Right.
Then and it has exactly worked out just that way. Whatever they liked when they were little, they still like today.
Right. Yeah. So what would you say? Like, what advice would you give for parents or even new parents that are kind of navigating, the world from like early childhood?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, do a lot of observing.
Yep.
Watch them, love them, support them, but also, in addition, give them responsibilities.
Yeah.
At home, I was big on that. I mean, my kids were not like on their hands and knees scrubbing the floor.
Oh, no.
But they did their own laundry as soon as they were able to. You know, the dishes, the dog, all that. Because I feel that we're all part of the group. That we all work together to make the family work. I mean, it's not complicated.
Right.
So just like I said, allow choices and then expect them to be responsible for those choices. Like, and like whatever, homework and getting, go home from school, and like when they sign up for whatever it is they want to do, they are committed to that. That's their responsibility. They don't have to do it ever again, but that time is really because other people are depending on them. So, and I think relax. Don't be every minute. Trust yourself.
Yes.
Trust yourself. Trust. If you hear it in here, it's right. Even if everybody else in the neighborhood is not doing that, if you think that it's works for your kid, your family, I think you really got to trust your kid.
And you just said, you were spot on. I mean, who cares about what the other kids in the neighborhood are doing? And I think today, and I don't know if it's just because of, social media, or there's just so much access or like overload that, I think we get so hung up on what other families are doing. And we forget that, like, worry about what's going on in your own home and what works for you. And if you need that support, hire a professional. Don't try and figure out what other families are doing, because your family is unique.
That's true. And it's good to talk to a professional, parenting coach, or I'm not sure what titles are. Yeah. Because sometimes you have to check in. Yeah. Because everybody else is doing like XYZ and you're over the ABC phase. Right. And if you talk to somebody who's a professional, they might give you the heads up. You're doing the right thing, or maybe you want to modify it a little bit. Right. So they're really, and another thing too, people sometimes are very reluctant to seek professional help, whether it's personal, emotional support, whether it's support with their kids, whatever. I think it's I really encourage that because that person is objective and not in the family or, whatever. And they see it from a totally different vantage point.
It's true.
That is very favorable. So, I think what you do is very worthwhile. And I hope that people seek your help. Like I said, if they're a little bit on the fence. Yeah. That's right. But that being said, everybody makes mistakes as a parent. Of course. And you do your best. You do your best. And like I always say, I gave you my best. After that, who knows? Really. After that, I mean, what can you do? So I'm hoping that, that parents out there, like I said, trust themselves to a level that they're comfortable with. And if they're not, to talk to somebody like you, Amanda.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, where can we find your book? The one that I just wrote? Yeah. As
amazing as it is, it's on Amazon. How do you like it? Yay, it's on Amazon. You can put in my name, Rena S. Weiner. You can just put Trust Your Doctor. It'll come up. And my previous book also comes up.
Absolutely.
But like I said, I hope to get the message across that you need to be involved, you need to participate, because that way you get the best care that's out there.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. So would that be your word of advice for anyone that's sort of, struggling with something health-wise?
Yeah, if you're not getting better, with a problem, doesn't have to be serious, like the big bag.
Of course, yeah.
Could be like, I don't know, I got this allergy, I can't, my nose, whatever. My takeaway from the book is one word, 3-letter word, ask. Ask to learn, ask to educate yourself, ask for second opinion, ask, all the questions that you need. And really, the bottom line is ask for what you need. That's my thought.
Ask for what you need.
Ask for what you need.
And that, I think, is crucial, being able to communicate that.
To everybody.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Ask your kids. Ask your kids for what you need from them, too.
Right.
So,
I agree. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on the show today. I think we talked about some great things, and I really hope that our viewers can really take away and being able to, trust themselves, and for both their health and just in general as humans. And
tell me, where can they find your recordings?
Yeah, so you can find me on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, and then it's also on the website, parentingwithapunch.com.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Good.
And I don't think I'm working on possibly being on Google Play. I think is also a new one that will probably be coming out. But yeah,
Good.
We're on all the platforms, social media, Instagram, Facebook. So we'll be everywhere and getting seen, especially with this episode. So good. I wish you the best. Good advice. Very good advice. All right. Well, have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yo, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Class is in session. Please be seated. Behaviors that get attention get repeated. Avoid the power struggle, cause it will get you heated. Listen to Amanda, cause she knows how to teach it. Yo, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Oh, this ain't parents out to lunch. No, this is parenting with the punch. Yeah.